I'm Anne Burke, the Programme Leader of the Postgraduate Certificate in Child and Adolescent Psychotherapy and Counselling with PCI. The first module we do on the certificate course is the introduction to therapeutic play and some of the theories behind that. So it gives you a taster of everything, foundation, as you're starting off, and it also, at the moment, we have a day on child protection and ethical issues in that as well. The second module we do is working with parents, and that's really important because we cover contracting with parents, obviously making them aware of the confidentiality issues that are there as well, and also looking at how you develop a therapeutic relationship with parents. You know, building that relationship with them is very important to how the therapy gets processed for the child and the adolescent, because you really need their support. We look at a few of the kind of family systems and dynamics as well, and dealing with issues like maybe, addictions in a family, or loss and bereavement, separation, divorce. So that's all contained in the Working with Parents module. Lifespan development is another module that we do. So again, the theoretical perspective comes in there, looking basically at I suppose the developmental theories again, and getting the students to look at their own developmental history as well. The fourth module then is the SAM play, so that's very experiential. So, and covering, I suppose, again, the background of SAND therapy and how to work with that with children, And then the last one is the 4-day summer school, which is the creative therapies, mainly focusing on art therapy, the storytelling, drama therapy, using puppets. So all of that's a thread throughout all the modules as well. We would also look at the history of the theoretical background to as play therapy and working with that age group. So it's a non-threatening way of communication with children and adolescents.
Children are completely different. We can't put pressure on them to talk. Sometimes they don't even know why they're angry. They might be angry because their dad didn't turn up for a visit, or he never turns up, and they're acting out in school, but nobody puts the two together. But oftentimes that's actually what's going on for them. So it's really difficult for them, and a lot of people don't acknowledge that for them. So sometimes it's about giving them those tools of how to be in the world, even because they don't get that mirroring from their parents. But the SAND module is brilliant because it's a very experiential model, and you're down on the floor and you're in the sand, and it's really interesting to see students. Sometimes they don't want to touch the sand, and they don't know how to play because they've forgotten how to play. So it's about their own anxieties. But oftentimes after a couple of sessions, then they're just lapping up the sand and they're sitting in it almost, or they ask you if they can take their shoes off and stand in it. So all of that goes on. So that's a lovely progression to see them, both the children and the students. When you're working with adults, you might have a great session with a client, but with children, it's over the weeks and over the sessions that the team develops. So I suppose what we can offer them is, through the expressive arts, is a multidimensional approach to healing, and that's what they need. Because we can all read the books and we can all read the theory, but it's putting it into practice, and that's what really works. When you're sitting in front of a child, and that child mightn't be a child that talks a lot, so what do you do with them? All these expressive ways of working with them, is really excellent, because they don't have to speak, so they don't feel under pressure, and yet you're getting to know them, and they're getting to heal whatever wounds that they have as well. You think you're just playing with a few miniatures or a bit of sand, but it is your own stuff that's coming up, because we can only work out of our own experience, so you're projecting onto the sand whatever is going on, and it's your story. So that can be quite difficult for students, but I think because they've done, especially students who are past pupils and who have done the degree, they're used to working like that. So it really deepens that for them and gives them a different way of looking at things, a different angle that they might never have thought before.
I teach the summer school, which is a 4-day summer school on the Postgraduate Certificate in Child and Adolescent Counselling and Psychotherapy. So I teach using creative arts, specifically art therapy, when working with children. In terms of students on the course and skills, well, the course itself, the 4-day summer school, is very much an experiential 4 days. So students are going to be doing exercises and drawing and painting and exploring different ways of working for themselves. We also look at what that process might look like if you're working in this way with a child. For me as an art therapist, I can't imagine ever going into a room with the child to work therapeutically without having lots of stuff. Any child, no matter where they're coming from, there's very few children that I've met over the years and you say to them, how are you? You know, you can be guaranteed that you'll get almost the same answer. They're fine, they're all fine. And that's as far as it goes. So in order to engage a child or enter into a child's world, you really need to have another approach. So we look at those on the 4-day summer school. We look at maybe a selection of children, you know, who have gone through this process.
Yeah, we even had a chance to practice a role play, how we would interact with parents in a therapeutic situation, which was great, and like it's been very supportive. All the lecturers have been very supportive to us. We've been supportive of each other. It's been emotional, but we feel we've all supported each other in that journey. We had to learn to be very non-directive, to suspend our judgment and our interpretation of what the child was saying to us through his play and through the creative therapies such as art or music, play, and it was a whole new experience for us.
For me anyway, to feel or even to know what it's like to be asked to do something. You know, something new, something that you've never tried before, and you're asking a child or an adolescent to do it. If you don't know what that experience is like, or maybe the fear of doing it, or getting it right, or getting it wrong. If we don't know what that's like, how can we ask teenagers or children to do it?
So something that I've found is what we learn here is immediately transferable and can be brought into the therapy room. What I learn here at the weekends, next week it's with my clients, it's with the girls, and I find that very very valuable, very very helpful.
I mean, the first module we do is the introduction to therapeutic play, to give them a taster of all the different ways that you can work creatively. So the sand play is there, drama is there, storytelling is there, art therapy is there. So we're really encouraging them to get a real feel for that way of working, you know, so that they can encourage the clients that they have in then as well. Well, it's a postgraduate certificate, so ideally people who have some kind of training in the area of psychotherapy and counselling if they wish to go on to work with children and adolescents. Also people like social workers or psychologists or teachers, anybody in that area that kind of wants to gain those skills and gives them different skills to enhance the way that they work and deal with the child or the adolescent, you know, in whatever setting that they're in. So there's 50 hours client work to do as part of the course. So some people who are maybe working as a counsellor or a psychotherapist already may already be working, even with, say, older adolescents as well. Some people can get their own placement, but the college also gives good support in helping them to assess an appropriate placement as well. And then there's supervision hours required with that. Another great, I suppose, benefit of the course that we've introduced in the last 2 years is actually group supervision. So with each module we allocate one evening for group supervision. They will bring the experiences of their client work to the group supervision, which is a great learning point for maybe people who haven't started their placement yet, but also for the people that are working there, they get many heads to kind of help them with the work.
Some people are already working with children, but for those who are not, having to look for a placement and go in there and experience the work whilst you're learning the theory and you're doing the experiential work, you know, throughout the year, rather than just coming in, maybe doing a course, but then going out and trying to utilise the skills. You're actually learning so much more when you're in a placement, and you're growing as a therapist whilst you're learning, and you're able to come back in and have the supervision We have some group supervision then relative to the work we're doing in placement, and to have experienced tutors, supervise. We have additional supervision, of course, but to have the benefit of additional group supervision relative to that placement work is really valuable.
Absolutely huge amount of resources that have been used. It's packed full with what we need, and so there wouldn't be anything that would impede you in doing the course. It's all here on a practical level.